Hello everyone, here in Cades Cove. We're going to do Rich Mountain Loop. We're not going to start No Car Wednesdays this year until the 18th of June. I don't know why they're waiting so late this year. Getting a late start today though. So maybe ending in the dark or late evening. Not sure what that was. Something went running it through here. I didn't see it, I just seen the greenery moving and heard it. Sounds like there's locust or something making noise. It's kind of a loud screeching noise. That must be the one right there. Seeing a bunch of these shells hanging everywhere. Cicadas, that's what I meant to say, not locusts, but cicadas. So if you're hearing like a little in the background, that's what it is, it's cicadas. really hear me over here. Yeah, that screeching is cicadas is what it is. It's one of the groups that came out. I didn't realize it was that time for them to come out. Probably should have wore shorts today. I knew there was a little bit of a prediction for rain too, so I put pants on. I should have put on one of the pairs I could change back and forth. Take the legs off or put them back on. Expecting to see quite a few people. It's fairly busy. Had a big line coming into the cove. Especially when we get near the cabin, we'll see quite a few people. So I'm walking that part of the trail today that goes behind the cabin. And we'll go up the Indian Grave Gap and And a little ways to the other part of the Rich Mountain Trail that goes down the Rich Mountain Road. Then I'll walk Rich Mountain Road back to the cove. It'll basically be the full length of Rich Mountain Road too, from where it comes out on the Townsend side all the way back to the cove. I'm not sure how much I'm going to video though. I'll at least try to get the trail parts. Not sure if I'll video the road or not. I may get a short video of the view from the proper views from Rich Mountain Road though. There's just gonna be cars driving it now, so I don't know how dusty it'll be. That was a slick one. At least that Crooked Arm would have some water on it still. It's the creek, Crooked Arm Creek here. We're not going up that way today. We're continuing on the Indian Grave Gap Trail this way. I know you can go to Indian Grave that way too. We're going to go this way. It is a little bit shorter going that way though to reach Indian Grave Gap. But I recently did Crooked Arm, so that's why I'm coming this way. Eventually these Mule Creeks here will dry up. I couldn't really decide where I wanted to hike today. I started out going to the Cherokee Orchard Road area and I decided I wanted to do something else. Of course, all the way across the other side of the park. We understand it. The campground, Cosby, will be opening this weekend. Of course, it should done be open by the time y'all see this. So that means it'll be easier access to Low Gap and Mount Cameron too. And Henwater Falls. You won't have to go the long way around it no more. We understand it though, the campground's not going to open this year. Just like many other campgrounds are not opening this year. I think just the three main campgrounds are opening this year. Just here in Cades Cove, Elkmont, and Smokemont. I think it's the only ones going to be open this year. The one in Cataloosa's not going to open. The one in Big Creek's not going to open. Abrams is not going to open from what I know. Cosby's not going to open. I'm not sure if the one in Deep Creek's opening or not. Yep, it's going to be one of those. It does not want to focus. Finally got it to focus. Took me a while. Still hear the cicadas. Very faintly though, so they're not as loud as they were when it first started. This is the same bunch that comes out every so often. I'm sure Raven Falls is probably really loud with them. Because I did it one year when they were out there and it was loud the whole trail with them. On Abrams Falls. A lot louder than they were on this first part. you could literally see them on the trees and everything back then when I saw them. Because that's been quite a few years ago before I was really videoing. But I do think I did video a little of it, but such bad quality you couldn't really tell. I didn't really have a good camera then, way back then. This creek will get drier and drier as the year goes too. So eventually it most likely won't have any water to it at all. Yeah, I had to let a spider go. And Jesus is down here. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen anyone yet. Guess most everyone's driving. Mountain laurel's coming out real good now. Won't be long until the rhodo will be coming out. And the azaleas on Andrew's Bald will be coming out shortly. And the cicadas, but I'm hearing something else too, but I can't tell what it is. It's kind of blending in with the cicadas. And I'm not talking about this bird behind me. I'm just hearing something else. Of course, this one will get lower, but I don't think it'll completely dry up. Unless we get a real bad dry spell. Still rock hoppable though. Looks like we might have some mess to get through up ahead. That might explain why no one's coming down through here. That's a big tree over the trail. It wasn't down the last time I came through here. I do a long way around because that's going to be a mess to get through. Looks like there's a trail worn out through here. But it's a waterway, not where someone's walked. People may be using it now, but this is definitely a washout way. I gotta find my way back up that way because this is going the wrong way away from the trail. There we go. Just find your way. Yeah, that definitely would have been a mess to try to climb through all that. That sort of explains why no one's on the trail. They probably come down to this and they're like, nope, turn around and go back. That tree definitely hasn't been down too long. Cicadas get louder, then they die off. Then they get louder, then they die. Hearing that strange noise again, along with the cicadas. Sounds weird. It's almost like a low howl noise. I don't know if the camera's catching it or not. I don't know if you're hearing this. It's coming like, oh, 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 oh. I think it's still just the cicadas. It just sounds weird. Said I'm not even sure if the camera's picking up that weirder noise with it. I'm sure it's just a cicada still. It's just an odd noise blending in with the normal noise of the cicada. Should be getting fairly close to the cabin. So we should be hearing people fairly soon. Of course, this goes behind the John Oliver cabin. This is the cabin it goes behind. You'll literally see it. I don't think I'm going to walk up to it this time though. seeing the cabin a little bit through the trees. So we're about there. I may go on the other side so we can get a little bit of the view of the cove before we get back in the trees. That's all I'm going to do, is come out here and get a view of the cove, then we'll get back on trail. Let's get back here and get back on trail. Here's one of them noise makers. That's what's making all that noise. Here's another one. Of course, there's more of their little husk around where they shedded their shells. We're calling maybe for a chance of storms later tonight. Hopefully they won't hit too early. You can sort of tell this was an old road back in the day. Of course, there are things off the side, but I'm not going to do any venturing off today. Especially since I got such a late start. I didn't get started till after 1. Like 1 or 1:30, something like that, when it started. Of course, that might depend on the sky, way it looks when I get to the end of this trail, which way I go. Like I said, I'm hoping to do Rich Mountain, but the sky is starting to look bad. I'll just go Indian Grave to Rich Mountain Road. That'd be the shorter way back. Of course, I could just go Indian Grave and back to Crooked Arm and down too, if I really wanted to. Which would mean I wouldn't video Crooked Arm, since I literally just did it a week or 2 ago. Yep, once we pass the cabin, that's where the climb really begins on this trail. Start going up and up. I don't think we're going to see too many flowers. They're basically past the time for the spring flowers. I like the short crested irises that were here. Now we're kind of going into the summer-like flowers. Good afternoon. I'm not hearing the cicadas anymore. Same if you just stand in the lower elevations of Cades Cove. This is a steep climb. But one thing, once I get to the Rich Mountain trailhead that goes down the other side of the mountain. It'll be all downhill until I start hiking Rich Mountain Road. Of course, part of that'll be uphill. Till I get about halfway on it, and then it'll be downhill into the cove. Whew. Of course, if I end up just doing Indian Grave to Rich Mountain Road, it'd be all downhill. I think we gotta cross the creek one more time, if not two more times. Yeah, they're not bad crossings at all. They're just rock hoppable. Don't even have to get my feet wet in these. I gotta say, it's not easier either way you choose. Either going up Crooked Arm or going this way and going up this way. They're both very steep. Of course, this one's climb don't start until you get past the cabin. Once you get past that cabin, it's all uphill. like a lot of other places, you gotta watch out because there is a lot of poison ivy. So far I've been lucky with it, even though I've been walking through it. Hasn't really bothered me any. I have worse as soon as I get home too, so that helps. Should have looked at weather a little better. I didn't realize it was going to get this warm. I would at least wear my pants that I can change back and forth. The shorts or pants. But also with calling for rain, I knew there was probably going to be some poison ivy, so I figured I better wear pants like I did in the other trails I've done with it. Even though this one's a little bit more doable, it's easier to stay away from the poison ivy than the other trails I've done. This is, of course, an actual trail, not a manway or off trail. So it sees quite a bit of traffic. Even though we've only seen one person on trail. Seen a few at the cabin, but I don't count that because they're there from the parking area there. Big clovers. I don't know how I would show you the size of them. They're fairly big. Trail does get very rocky in areas. And when it's raining and all this trail basically becomes a little creek. You can tell by the way it looks. The water flows over it quite a bit when it's raining. Especially through here. Because it's basically a dry creek bed right now. Or drier. Some of it's wet. You can see some of it's still a creek right now, a stream. They could probably fix that if they really wanted to. Dig that out a little more, make it where more of the water goes down that way instead of the trail. And I feel like I've jumped in the river. I'm so wet. It was wet. Storm system must be pushing a lot of warm air ahead of it. Because it definitely wasn't nowhere near this warm yesterday. You wore a jacket all day yesterday. That's what gets you. It's cold one day, hot the next, and back to cold. I do wish I noticed the temperature a little more. I did notice the rain and all, but I forgot to mark what the temperature is supposed to be today. But I can't really go on that either. It was supposed to be warmer yesterday than it was. So I was like, yeah, it's supposed to be warmer today. I didn't know that much, but I didn't know how warm. But I'm like, I'm sure it's still going to be cooler in the mountains. But I was wrong on that. Now I almost wish I went at the Newfound Gap or something. But probably wouldn't have many views up there either, is what I was thinking. Because they seem to be up in the clouds. Sort of why I haven't done the Kant yet. Every day I want to do it. It seems like the clouds are hovering right over the mountains. Now, if I want to do the Bullhead, I'm going to have to do it on the weekends. But with time restrictions, I won't be able to go all the way up the Bullhead on the weekend. Unfortunately, I'll only have time enough to make it to the pulpit, and that's it. Of course, it's just been closed a week now during the weekdays, so shouldn't be too much done to it yet. Because they're basically just getting started. And I'm not sure how they're doing it. I don't know if they're doing it from the bottom up or going to start from the top down. I would think they'd work their way up. I could be wrong. They could have carried their stuff all the way to the top and started from the top down. And just moved their stuff down as they go. I'm glad they're working on it, because it does need some work. I'm just hoping they don't change it mainly to just steps. I hope they sort of keep it looking like this. A trail. You see it's kind of cloudy towards the mountains. Yeah, with everything green, there's not going to be too many views up here anymore. Have a few here and there though. Here's some more cicadas down in the valley below. But they're way down in the bottom of the valley. Believe it or not, many years ago, this is the way I kind of remember Scott Mountain Trail being. A wider trail like this. But as you can see what it's turned into now. After so many years. Still a good trail though. Just gotta watch your step and everything, right? Of course, right now it'd be getting very overgrown in places now. You could tell that it would be when I did it there. And they've closed Spruce Flat Falls Trail too, because they're working on it now too. So that's two trails you can't do right now. Is the Bullhead during the week, and Spruce Flat Falls is just like Laurel Falls, completely closed. So that's actually three trails that's closed right now, at least on this side of the park. There's still quite a few closed on North Carolina side because of the hurricane last year. This is a horse trail, so people do use it with horses. So you gotta take that in mind too. You may run across some horses every now and then. But it's people who have their own horses, it's not the rental stables. So you won't see too many horses. But you will see the left behinds of them. Ah, here's some azaleas. Of course, they're way off. There's some more up here, but they're way up above the trail, so they'll be hard to get to. Probably won't get to get them too good from underneath, because the sun or light will probably block them. There's actually more up in the woods. I can see barely through the rhodo. There's some more up in the woods back there. There's one sort of near the trail. Trail is muddy and goopy in places, but another thing, as the summer comes along, it should dry out a bit. It does seem like it's getting a little cloudy. So I may not get to do the loop I'm wanting to do. Here's a crested. Yep. There's one crested iris at least still trying to hang on. Yep, this trail right up through here is a little sloppy. Okay, getting out of the sloppiness now. But you can see how during heavy rains water comes down the trail. It washes out right there. That's the reason why there's less leaves here is because they've been washed away. So eventually switch back, start going the other direction. Whew. Now we're under sort of blue skies again. Keep going back and forth. Just a little lizard or something. Because you know how they like to run, scatter away through the leaves. It's wild how that tree grew. How when they both forked that way and then they forked that way. Of course, it happens naturally. It's not what some people try to say, Indian trees. Early on in its life, most likely a tree fell on it, damaging it and causing it to grow up like that. It's definitely not old enough to be a what you would call an Indian tree. Here's some azaleas right next to the trail. And actually low to the ground. Of course, you don't get too many views of the cove now with everything green. It's just a jet. Thought it was thunder there at first. Yep, I think we're getting ready to do the switch back. Start going the other direction. Which that should mean we're getting fairly close to the trailhead with Indian Grave Gap. But I'll probably at least take you all to the next trail that I'm planning on going down. I do think I'm still going to go Rich Mountain down like I planned. Sky's still not looking super bad yet. I'll probably take a little break before I start down Rich Mountain Trail. Of course, we still got a little hike on Indian Grave Gap Trail before reaching the other portion of Rich Mountain Trail. Yeah, there wouldn't have been no views up at Newfound Gap and all. The mountains over that way are definitely still in the clouds. So I'm glad I didn't go up the Newfound Gap. We've just been in the fog. I don't know. I may just end this video at this trailhead here and not start the other one till we reach Rich Mountain. It's not usually too much on Indian Grave Gap Trail between here and there. I think it's only like half a mile or so anyway, I can't remember. I think it says up here, we'll see. We should be about to the trailhead now. It was just me kicking a stick. Wasn't anything moving. It's actually cooled down a little bit too. Now I'm a little bit higher elevation. Not too cool, but cooler than it was earlier. And got a breeze blowing too now. It didn't help that I'm covered in sweat though. The breeze is actually kind of chilly. It's the sweat. But it feels good. Mayaples here, but they're past their time. I'm actually surprised we just passed one person so far. Usually this trail's a lot busier. I did say I did get a late start too. So maybe the others went through earlier today. That's what you gotta watch out for every now and then. When I mean they got horses on the trail. I don't see how they do that one part though with that tree down. Unless they just rode them out past the cabin and out to the loop road. Or turned around and came back. One of the two. I don't see no way a horse could have got through him down that down tree. Of course, it hadn't been down long, so maybe they went through before it went down. Yeah, there are people up here at the trailhead. So I don't know if we'll be able to look at the sign or not. We're standing right on it. So, let's see how much further we are. It's still almost a mile. Guess I'll go ahead and take you to the trail. For some reason I thought it was closer than that. I didn't realize it was almost a mile. Of course, this is still going to be basically all uphill until we reach that trail. If it went the way they were going, it would have been downhill. I told you it usually is a busier trail though. I'm just used to passing more people than I've passed. This time of the year anyway. I think when it's said and done, I'm gonna have close to 16 or 16, between 16 and 20 miles today. If I do everything I want to do. I know it'll at least be getting dark by the time I'm done. Or close to getting dark anyway. It'll definitely be late evening. Like I said, after these trails, I'm not sure how much I'm going to video. If I do video the road, I'll probably just video until that good viewing part over the cove. And I probably won't video anymore past there. I did do the loop road there not too long ago, so I probably won't do any of it. I may have a camera out just in case I see a bear or something though. It's all going to depend how I feel when I reach the cove, what I do. Because I do have something in the back of my head, if I still got time to do it, I might do. It just depends what time it is and how late it is when I reach that church off of Rich Mountain Road. What I do. I got plenty of time still. I may do an even longer than 20-mile day today. I'm saying it's possible because these trails shouldn't be in too bad shape. Of course, it depends what the weather is looking like too by the time I get to the church. Could be looking stormy-fied by then. Sort of is now in the distance. Of course, we're on Indian Grave Gap Trail now. It's probably got on when we reached the trailhead back there. This would take us all the way back to Crooked Arm if we wanted to. Like I said, I plan on going down Rich Mountain Trail though. I did it once before. I can't remember if it was fall or winter when I did it. I don't think it was green when I did it. I can't remember for sure. There's another one of them trails that kind of hugs the border of the park. I wasn't expecting to see any of these. I figured they'd be already bloomed out. I see some more azaleas up here too. I was surprised to see them trillium. I figured it was already past their time. I guess we're still high enough, they're still blooming. This is quite a bit in elevation. Hopefully there won't be too many sitting at this next trailhead, because I'd like to sit and take a break for a while. It's like 1 minute it looks still clear, and the next minute I look up, it looks like it could rain. I don't know why I thought it was a shorter distance between the trailheads. I should have remembered it hadn't been too long since I've done this trail, but I did it without videoing. That was a long day because I walked the entire loop and walked up Rich Mountain Road and came up this way. I mean, I entered the exit of the loop, came around all the way that way. But I didn't video that day when I did that. Didn't even take pictures. I just walked it to walk it. I even made it where I didn't have the temptation. I didn't even pack the cameras. Like, I need to get out and just hike without videoing or taking pictures for a change. And that's what I did that day. course, this trailhead up here is also near a campsite, so there might be people in the area there too. Not seeing too many flowers through here though, other than those ones I already showed you. And I was actually surprised to see them, especially the trillium. This is a mountain laurel. One good thing though, once I get to Rich Mountain Trail, it's all downhill. Or should I say mostly downhill. So you know, it's been literally all uphill since I got past that cabin. Just so you know. Yep, everything green. Not really too many views up here. Might get a few peekaboos here. And we're about to hit the trailhead. I was thinking, man, we should be about there. Of course, the campsite's literally right down in there somewhere. You can see they replaced one of the signs there. Well, I hope you enjoyed that hike up Rich Mountain Loop Trail and part of the Indian Grave Gap Trail. Everyone, thanks for watching and have a great day.